Welcome to episode 65 of the barn door restoration. Last episode I secured the bulkhead and welded in the inner B-pillars. This episode, quite a bit of stuff welded together in the front. So the first thing, to get things in position and welded, first thing I did was set the A-pillars in place, set the windshield panel in place, and then start measuring, matching up to my 64 dimensions. The width in these door opening at the bottom, the middle hinge, and at the top. And I use the right side of my 64 because the door gaps are perfect on that side. And when I mocked it up, the dimensions worked out the same as the right of my 64, and the door worked out well with those dimensions. So I matched both sides the same. So I matched that, and I started to put the widths in. So measuring the widths on the A-pillars. I did realize that the bottom of the A-pillars were forward a little bit further than my 64. 64 measures the same both sides from the A-pillar to the bulkhead. So these were 3 millimeters ahead. So the only thing I had to do to move them back was to notch the floor panel a little bit. So I slid them back to 3 millimeters, and that actually made the bracket here fit a little nicer and fit square up and down a little better. So I kind of rolled it back a bit. So that was actually an improvement in this whole area. So once I had them both in place, the dimensions of the door correct, and the width correct, I welded the bottoms in. Now, originally the outer valance brackets would have been spot welded to the inner A-pillar before the A-pillar was assembled. There's no way for me to do that because I wouldn't be able to get it accurate enough because most of the stuff, this is all, I had to rebuild all this from scratch. And the bottom of this A-pillar is mostly new. So it would have been very difficult to get it accurately assembled. So by doing it after, I had to bend the floor up and bend the bracket a little bit to get the A-pillar in. But once it was in, I plug welded those. I drilled them before I put the A-pillar in, plug welded them. Plug welded across the top panels, the little lips, and it's spot welded on the bottom. And it's also welded to the floor, right around the floor to seal it. Now, I only welded the inside. I didn't do this the door opening side because that leaves a little bit of flex in the floor. So when I put the dog legs in case it needs to move very slightly, I can adjust a millimeter up or down. So once the A-pillar bottoms were welded in place, in the right spot, and I had them at the right forward and back angle, they couldn't twist anymore. And that's quite a big deal because if you start trying to move them, they twist. It might be correct here, but when you twist that, this could move a lot. So having them welded down here fixed that from twisting. Then I was able to get these square, so X measured, and the right width, and held in place. And I use ratchet straps sometimes to move them, twist them a bit. And I clamped the windshield panel on and then matched this angle to the 64. Once I had all these widths the same, the ones I could measure from the 64, then this angle actually matched the 64. Now when I originally mocked it up, I just used the door gaps and the windshield panels, made sure they were flat, but I had a bit more angle on it apparently. And that's why the dash beam didn't quite fit. There was a gap in here between the windshield panel and the dash beam. I thought maybe the dash beam had pulled a bit because I did so much welding around here. It might have sucked it in and made it a little straighter. But what I found was the problem is the drip rail, the front drip rail at the wrong angle. So I had originally made this at 151 degrees. It should have been 152. And 1 degree doesn't sound like much, except over a distance, it ends up being quite a bit. So when I measured the angle on my 64 on a flat plane here, it was 152. And when I said that, the dash beam fit perfect, and the widths fit perfect. All this fit in nicely in its place. And to measure it, I just have this little digital angle finder. Problem with the angle finder is that all this stuff is just a little wavy. Even though 64 where the dash, where the windshield frame meets the nose, it's got a slight wave to it. So trying to measure this accurately over this short distance is kind of difficult. You almost have to kind of look down it and eye the whole length. It should have these much longer to be accurate, but it's quite a help. And also measured the angle of these from horizontal to match them up, and that they came out right. I just wanted to ensure that everything was coming out the right way. So once the windshield panel was sitting in place, the plug fit in both sides, these were flat, this measured correctly, the widths were correct. Then I clamped the dash in place. I had to put the heater duct in, because this doesn't go in, has to go in before the dash goes in, because otherwise you'd have to twist this way up in the air and try and get it in and then get in place, which is probably could have been done, but this put more flex than I wanted to. So put these together, set the dash in place, and then push the duct down into the bottom elbow where it was set. And I just clamped the dash on each side. Now this joint here is, if you adjust this, when this comes up, it actually rolls the dash. So this will kind of roll the dash beam. So the position of this controls the angle here. So it's kind of you kind of have to eye it up, eye the inside up, how it sets right. So basically the plane is flat, it doesn't have a roll in it, to get the height to this and weld it. So I welded, once the dash is in place, I welded it. Originally it was spot welded here, but I put the MIG welder and put a bead of weld on each side for extra strength. I didn't need to do that, because what I realized after is on the inside it's welded all the way up, from the top down and the bottom up. Everything is welded except for there's a little flange on there that goes back, lays against the A-pillar. That's not welded at all. It's welded top and bottom with a bead of weld, so it makes it very solid. So once those are welded in, then I positioned the heater duct and welded those. And just some gobs of weld on each top and bottom. They were pretty rough from the factory. So this now is all nice and solid. This kick panel is just sitting here, and the reason is when I put the outer valance on, it spot welds on this slip, and I want more access so I can use the spot welder in through here. Once that is welded in, then I'll weld this in place. And this just gets spot welded in across the floor, up sides, and then a few spot welds on this heater duct plate to secure that. Now the drip rail, so I had to fix that, because then after I had this in the right place, this was sticking out too far because it was too pointy, so I had to move it back. Well, it's fairly easy. There's an oval hole in the middle of that, and I just cut from the hole out towards the front, bent it a little straighter, and then welded it. Now, originally I had taken the angle also off of this, which is the old drip rail in the front, but it had quite an impact on this side. So there's a tree had fallen on it here, and it crushed the windshield frame, and this was crushed down. And what I didn't realize is there's buckled in this section here. So it's actually bent a little sharper than it should have been. This is buckled and it's buckled there. It's rounded up. So this angle wasn't quite correct. It had been bent further in. And that, with measuring the dash beam a little bit wrong, because I didn't realize it tipped back so much, that's what gave me that 1 degree out. So I cut it, straightened it, welded it. Now what that did was made both sides sticking way out, because I just flattened that center. So what I did is this, on the sides here, I bent the lip down, I stretched the metal using a stretcher until I got the right width. And what I did is I knew the width I needed, divided it in half, and then I moved one side in half, and then put the lip back, cleaned it up, and then did the other side and brought it in so it was correct. And that actually widens this out a little bit here because of the way the shapes worked. And it actually helps with how this is going to, this is the driver side one. there was a little more, I was a little bit narrow here, or I thought I was. And by doing that, by straightening this out a bit and bending those back in, I actually widened this area out. So everything's going to fit much better than it was looking like. So that I'm all happy with. Now I didn't weld the drip rail down. The drip rail has 2 spot welds to the A pillar and a couple spot welds to the inner B pillar, which is not much. The other parts that go around it will actually give it its strength. And the reason I didn't weld it in yet is because when I put the wall panels in, they kind of match up to it. And there's no real point in me welding that down now as it is later. It doesn't help me at all. So I think I'm just going to leave it clamped for now. And then when I get the walls on and start fitting stuff, then I'll weld this down. I'll put all the side doors, the front doors, get everything on at once, and make sure this is perfect. And it's another one of those things, I could do it now, but if it's off, it's a pain to fix. But it's no more work to wait till later. It doesn't bother anything. And then I can show it's perfect at that time. So I probably didn't need to do quite as accurate a job of aligning everything before I welded it. They definitely weren't accurate when they were new. My 64 is far from accurate. But making sure that everything X measures exact and the widths are, everything is fitting just right. That ensures further down the line that everything's going to continue to fit. I could have left stuff off like 5 millimeters out, and probably everything would have been perfect. But not knowing that is the issue. And now that I have it, where I'm very happy with how it lined up, I don't have to worry about further down the line something not being quite right, not fitting exact, or having to tweak something a little just to make it fit. Another thing I did was the door seal channels. I was waiting for the A-pillars to get installed before I trimmed these off to the floor. But I realized I actually go down through the floor and then trimmed flush with the bottom of the floor. So what I did is I notched the floor just enough so that they fit in. They're a little tight, but they slide into the floor notch. I'm not going to weld these in yet. And I could, but it's going to be easier to do the door headers and then fit them in with that. And there's no real advantage to weld them in now anyway. Same amount of work welding them now as it is wait until the other stuff is in place. So I'm going to put those aside. I could probably go ahead now and I can build and weld in the front balance. I can weld in the kick panel, and I can go ahead with getting the dash frame in here. So the dash pod, well, it's right here. There's a dash pod which sets up in the dash beam. It's supported by this frame, and this frame just welds in here like this. So this can be restored now, and there's another beam that goes across over here too, like that, for support. So very happy with how this is coming along. I can do a bunch more here. At this point, I'm going to leave that and probably try to use this area as kind of a filler when I get stuck on other spots. So my next episode is going to be on the rear. So I'm going to start the rear floors. So I'm going to bring up the rear section of the body that I removed, strip out the parcel tray is useless. That's completely rotted away. But the firewall is good, so I'm going to remove the firewall, the transmission hump panel, which is in bad shape also, but I need that to rebuild, and the 2 inner fenders, take those out to rebuild, because I need those to do the rear floor. And then I'll probably remove the rear window panel so I can split the 2 sides apart. Well, that about wraps up this video. I hope I wasn't too confusing about talking about this. I feel like I did a very good job explaining. But anyway, next episode, I'll be disassembling the back of the bus. I'll start working back there. Keep watching for some shots of doing the work on it. Drawings. I have updated drawings for this, but I haven't uploaded them yet, so I'll try to get that done this week. Well, thanks for the comments. I appreciate them, and thanks for watching.